JBN, we keep you informed. I am Michelle Jones, and in the news, assault rifle handed over in St. Mary under amnesty. An assault rifle was handed over to the Port Maria Police in St. Mary yesterday under the government's gun amnesty. It was not disclosed if the weapon was loaded with ammunition. Commissioner of Police, Major General Anthony Anderson, yesterday conducted a site visit in Port Maria. Speaking in an interview, Anderson said the handover to the Port Maria Police is a clear signal that illegal firearm holders are willing to take up the amnesty. A rifle has come in and also rounds. Somebody separately has turned in rounds in St. Mary. It's happening across the country, said Anderson. It's what we kind of expected from the amnesty. There are a lot of what we call loose guns out there. Persons who have weapons in their possession, but sometimes they don't know how to bring it in. They don't even use it or carry it or need it. Sometimes somebody died and left a weapon in their custody, and they're not really sure how to go about handing it in, he added. The amnesty, which was enacted through the Firearms Prohibition, Restriction and Regulation Firearms Amnesty Order 2022 and resolution passed by Parliament, began last Saturday and ends on November 20. It gives holders of illegal guns one last chance to turn them in and avoid tough sanctions, including a mandatory 15-year prison sentence that are included in Jamaica's revised firearm law. The police commissioner appealed to persons in possession of illegal guns to take up the amnesty. The amnesty provides for those people to rid themselves of that at this time, and then after you know what that is, just enforce the act. Subsequent to the amnesty, there will be less opportunity to do so, so my advice would be to do it now whilst you have the chance. Boat captain fined little over $2 million for smuggling ganja. A boat captain was on Wednesday fined a total of $2,015,000 in the Manchester Parish Court for smuggling ganja. Richard Linder was arrested and charged after the vessel E and two men were traveling in was intercepted by the Jamaica Defence Force Coast Guard on September 21, 2021 off the coast of Manchester, and 1,680 pounds of ganja seized in 38 knitted bags. Throughout the course of the proceedings, the other two occupants of the vessel, Lloyd Bennett and Kahiga James, absconded bail. Linda pleaded guilty on September 22 of this year to possession, dealing and trafficking ganja. On Wednesday, he was fined $15,000 or 6 months imprisonment for possession of ganja, $1 million or 2 years for dealing in ganja, and $1 million or 2 years for trafficking ganja. Linda was represented by attorney Thomas Levine. Meanwhile, the person who stood as surety for Bennett was taken into custody before being offered bail. Bennett had previously pleaded guilty and should have appeared on Wednesday for sentencing, but his attorney informed the court that information was that Bennett had left the island and is in custody in the Cayman Islands. The person who stood as surety was offered bail in the sum of $500,000 and to report to the Pedro Plains Police Station weekly. The surety is to return to court on December 9. St. Catherine woman accused of killing 18-year-old Mason with ice pick. A St. Catherine woman has been charged with murder after she allegedly used an ice pick to stab a teenager in the parish last Saturday. She's 26-year-old Donnell Davis, otherwise called Dora, of Blue Peace District in St. Catherine. The Riversdale police say Davis had a dispute with 18-year-old Mason Dane Stevenson, otherwise called Tai Tai, of Riversdale in the parish, during which he used an ice pick to stab him in the chest. He was transported to hospital where he was admitted. Stevenson succumbed to his injuries on Sunday, November 6. Davis subsequently turned herself into the Riversdale police and was charged following a question and answer session. According to Stevenson's sister, the incident between her brother and the suspect seemingly stemmed from a controversy that had been brewing regarding the suspect's son, who is still in primary school. That child is said to have bullied a classmate who is the brother of the late Stevenson. Stevenson's sister claimed that her mother in the past complained to the suspect about the child's alleged behavior. Things came to a head on Saturday when someone reportedly told the suspect that Stevenson had hit her son on the head. Stevenson's sister stated that, based on information she received, the suspect reportedly lay-waited Stevenson until he finished playing football on the playing field in Riversdale and was heading home. While Stevenson was walking past the bar where the suspect worked, the suspect allegedly stopped him and accused him of hitting her son. A dispute started between the two, and Stevenson, who reportedly denied hitting the child, was stabbed. Brother allegedly kills brother and burns his body. The Linseed police are investigating a very bizarre killing after a man identified as Yoshan Hay, a vendor who sells CDs and DVDs in Linstead Town, is said to have been killed by his brother at York Street, Linstead in St. Catherine. According to reports, the two had an argument on the night of Monday, November 7. Residents who heard the commotion did not respond, as the brothers were known to be at loggerheads with each other. Hay was heard calling on for his sister, who also lives at the premises. It is not clear if she heard the call. The commotion eventually ended. However, early Tuesday morning, persons reportedly saw a strange fire blazing at the premises occupied by the brothers. It is said that no one went to check. It was later in the day that concerns were raised when there was no sign of Hay. His brother, who is said to be mentally challenged, was questioned about the whereabouts of Hay, but he denied knowing where his brother was. Parts of the brothers' remains were eventually found where the fire was seen early Tuesday morning. Another portion was seen dumped inside an outdoor toilet. The police were summoned. The brother has been taken into police custody. Gun seized on Simpson Road. One gun and several rounds of ammunition were seized during an operation on Simpson Road on Thursday, November 10. No one is arrested in connection with the find. Reports from the Elliston Road Police show that about 6:30 a.m., lawmen carried out an operation in the area when a Premier multi-caliber pistol loaded with two 5.56 cartridges was found buried at the rear of the premises. The weapon was subsequently seized. Investigations are ongoing. Motorcyclist killed in St. Elizabeth crash. A motorcyclist died as a result of injuries he sustained in a crash on the Cheapside Main Road near Junction in St. Elizabeth on Thursday. Police named the deceased as 17-year-old Shaquille McLean, a resident of Cheapside. A police report said about 9:30 a.m., McLean was driving a motorcycle on the main road when he collided with a Honda Fit motor car. Police said the driver of the motor car was exiting a minor road. McLean and a male pillion were reportedly flung from the motorcycle on impact. He was taken to hospital where he was pronounced dead. Two female occupants of the car were also brought to the hospital. A police source said St. Elizabeth has recorded 26 road fatalities from 24 crashes since the start of this year, a decrease when compared to the corresponding period last year. For the past 2 months, September and October, St. Elizabeth recorded one road fatality. The source urged motorists to be cautious in traversing the nation roads, even as the festive season is fast approaching. St. Mary man charged for wounding with intent. A St. Mary man has been charged after allegedly inflicting several chop wounds on another man in Harmony Hall, St. Mary on Monday, November 7. 54-year-old Fitzroy Mahoney of Whitehall District in St. Mary has been charged with wounding with intent. Reports from the Highgate Police are that about 10 a.m., the now injured man was walking along the roadway when he was attacked and shot by Mahoney, with whom he has had a long-standing dispute. The police were summoned and the man taken to hospital where he was admitted for treatment. Mahoney later turned himself into the police and was subsequently charged. His court date is being arranged. American cruise passengers arrested in major cocaine bust. Police on Wednesday arrested 8 American cruise ship passengers who allegedly tried to leave Jamaica with cocaine valued approximately $130 million. The police believe they are part of a transnational drug trafficking syndicate operating between the United States and Jamaica. The Jamaica Constabulary Forces Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, says the 8 cruise line passengers arrived in Ocho-Rios, St. Anne from Miami, Florida on Wednesday and disembarked the vessel. It says about 1:30 p.m. they were reboarding the vessel for departure when anomalies were detected in their luggage. CCU further states that during a search by members of the Narcotics Division, a total of 24 packages containing cocaine weighing just over 17 kilograms or 38 pounds were found concealed in their bags. The passengers were arrested for breaches of the Dangerous Drugs Act. The police say their identities are being withheld pending further investigations. Antigua's DPP hit with additional fraud charges. New fraud charges were this morning laid against Antigua's Director of Public Prosecutions, Anthony Armstrong, who was arrested and charged in connection with 3 land transactions. It was disclosed Thursday morning when the matter was mentioned in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court that 3 counts each of uttering forged documents on forgery were laid against the accused. The clerk of the court informed the judge that the investigator explained that the new charges arose after further review of the case file. Additionally, she said the investigator informed that the charges were initially not laid because she was rushing to get the matter before the court. Charging that the police did a rush job, Armstrong's lead attorney, Yo Wildman, questioned why the charges were not laid and suggested that the investigator be impeached. He argued that she should have informed the court on Monday that the file was incomplete and gave no indication that it was contemplating new charges. Did she dream up these charges overnight? He asked. The Jamaican lawyer was arrested on Saturday on his arrival at the Norman Mall International Airport and charged with conspiracy to defraud and fraudulent conversion. The charges reportedly stem from the sale of 3 properties 18 years ago in Jamaica, in which Armstrong represented the complainant, who was the vendor. Armstrong contends that the proceeds of the sale were paid over to the complainant's father, who had authorized to be his agent while he was incarcerated in the United States. The complainant in the matter reported Armstrong to the General Legal Counsel, JLC, over the matter. The disciplinary committee of the JLC in February found that Armstrong was guilty of professional misconduct for selling a document for a client who was not present. In the meantime, in light of the new charges, the judge delayed ruling on whether Armstrong's passport will be returned. Armstrong's $500,000 bail was extended until November 16. Western Jamaica to get 10 new garbage trucks by Monday. Western Parks and Markets WPM Waste Management Limited has announced that it is set to receive at least 10 of the 50 long-awaited garbage trucks by November 14. Jermaine Jones, the WPM's acting regional operations manager, made the announcement while addressing Thursday's monthly meeting of the St. James Municipal Corporation. A minimum of 10 trucks, and I'm expecting 12, are to arrive in another 4 days, and 5 of these trucks will stay in St. James, Jones told the councillors during the meeting. In July, Prime Minister Andrew Holness had announced that the 50 new garbage trucks will be brought into Jamaica to complement the National Solid Waste Management Authority's current fleet. Responding to Jones's announcement, Montego-based Mayor Leroy Williams noted that the arrival of the new trucks is timely, as he had been getting multiple complaints about the lack of regular waste collection in St. James. At the end of October, there were 115 communities in St. James experiencing a waste collection backlog, up from 76 in September. No misappropriation flagged in audit, says Tufton. Dr. Christopher Tufton has engaged in damage control regarding $400 million in COVID-19 expenditure regulation breaches, arguing that the pandemic presented grave difficulties for the Health Ministry in its management of the disease. Tufton said that many decisions were taken on the spur of the moment because lives were on the line, but he acknowledged that the findings were a learning process. In the case of the hotels and the accommodations, we can recall the context of persons on ships waiting to be taken off, so there were a lot of issues, Tufton said during an interview on Wednesday. That reference relates to the ban on inbound passengers at airports and seaports during the first months of the outbreak, which sparked a national debate as Jamaican cruise ship workers were initially barred entry. Hundreds of ship workers and other nationals were eventually quarantined at hotels. COVID-19, which was first detected here in March 2020, has killed more than 3,300 people and infected 160,000. Tufton also insisted that Auditor General Pamela Monroe-Ellis's report did not cite the Minister of Health and Wellness for misappropriation of funds. The minister said Permanent Secretary Dunstan Bryan, the ministry's chief accounting officer, and his team would respond to the observations when they appear before the Julian Robinson-chaired Public Accounts Committee, PAC of Parliament. As I understand it, what the Auditor General spoke to is the issue of whether or not a process was followed in the tangible way or contracts are written. But let's wait on the PAC. Let's allow the team to respond. That's the appropriate place of response, Tufton said on the sidelines of an Adoppa Clinic ceremony at the Dr. Kenneth Bohr Health Center in Point Hill on Wednesday. I read the report and I've had a meeting with the team. I've also heard and seen the response. The report, tabled in Parliament Tuesday, revealed hundreds of millions of dollars in expenditure without formal contracts, with 14 of 15 hotels and suppliers for infrastructural work. The audit cited a lack of transparency in the spend of $293 million for quarantine facilities and a lack of formal contracts for infrastructural works amounting to $124 million. It was also not clear how $174 million transferred to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development was used. Monroe-Ellis and her team concluded that the Health and Wellness Ministry lacked transparency in its payments, which totaled $293 million for quarantine facilities, was unable to show formal contracts for infrastructural works amounting to $124 million, could not confirm of $174 million transferred to the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, a state agency, and a non-governmental organization was used, weakness in the controls over COVID-19 fixed assets acquisition and regulatory breach in the preparation and maintenance of payment vouchers. In sports news, Dintil and Frome suffer setbacks. Dintil Technical and Frome Technical, both former winners, suffered early setbacks in their hopes for qualification to the semi-finals of the Issa da Costa Cup football competition after they were beaten in the first game in the quarterfinals on Wednesday. All 4 games played on Wednesday ended in a 1-0 scorelines as Dintil Technical were surprised by Edwin Allen, while Frome Technical suffered back-to-back losses after going down to Manchester High. Meanwhile, Clarendon College and Manning School both scored wins over Central High and William Knibb Memorial respectively. Edwin Allen Ice win at Droxall Sports Complex in St. Anne avenged last season's loss at the same venue as they took a big step towards their first ever Da Costa Cup semi-finals. Central defender Kimberly Ferron scored in his 3rd straight game when he headed in a corner taken by Clayton Peck in the 69th minute. Clarendon College are joint leaders in Group B with Edwin Allen after they beat Central High, thanks to a goal from Malachi Douglas, and ended a 5 games unbeaten run by Central. Manning School handed William Knibb Memorial back-to-back losses as Devontae Roden scored for the Everton Tomlinson coach team in the 51st minute as they extended their unbeaten run all season. William Knibb had gone 12 games without conceding a goal but had allowed 4 in their last 2 games without scoring. Yuri Carnegie scored for Manchester High in their win over Frome Technical, who are also coming off a big loss to Clarendon College on Saturday. Wednesday's results: Manchester High 1, Frome Technical 0. Manning's 1, William Knibb 0, Dintil Technical 0, Edwin Allen 1, and Clarendon College 1, Central High 0. On to Manning Cup news. Mona's Pinnock talk staff. Mona High School's Zane Pinnock is confident that they'll dispose of any threat in the Issa Digicel Manning Cup schoolboy football competition after they dismissed former champion St. George's College 1-0 at Stadium East yesterday. Pinnock scored the decisive goal in the quarter-final encounter, with the win enabling Mona to join Kingston College KC as the 2 Group 1 qualifiers for the semi-finals. It is the first time that Mona will be progressing to that stage of the tournament. I feel great about my contribution and great about my performance. We feel wonderful. The focus is to win the Manning Cup, and any team comes. We're 100% sure we can win, Pinnock said. Mona dominated the first half and had chances to score. However, they had to wait until 10 minutes before the break for Pinnock to fire home a low shot for the opener. Assistant coach Winston Taylor, who stood in for Craig Butler, who served a 1-match suspension, believes the magnitude of the occasion affected the players, but said they showed their resolve to get the required result. It was a really exciting performance. This was the best St. George's this season. They really came at us in the second half, but our defense was resilient in getting the result. Meanwhile, St. George's coach Neville Burgess Bell believes his team wilted under Mona's pressure. I don't think we were good enough today. I don't think we did enough to get anything out of the game. We were not composed enough. Our game is to put down the ball and pass it. But because they came at us when we got the ball, we started to go back at them. I don't think we made 4 passes the entire game, and that is not our style. So congrats to Mona, but we really weren't good enough, Bell stated. In the earlier game, KC stopped Charlie Smith 5-0. KC lead the group with maximum 6 points, ahead of Mona on goal difference. Meanwhile, in the Walker Cup, defending champions St. Catherine emphatically started their title defense as they dismissed rival St. Jago 2-0 in the St. Catherine Derby at the Spanish Town Prison Oval. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.